Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the United Regional Chamber's weekly update. We try to bring you on some interesting guests and some subjects that are important to the local area. Today, my guest is our state rep, Mr. James Hawkins. Jim has done a tremendous job for us through our local communities and the things he's done. And today we're going to talk about the South Attleboro train station. But before we do, I just want to give Jim huge kudos for the team he put together to put the new homeless shelter. We had the groundbreaking yesterday. And Jim, I'd like you to make a few comments on that, if you would, please.
I think what's really amazing is that we started with nothing. We didn't have a checking account or an organization or anything. And this has come to the point now where it's fully paid for. It's in an ideal location near YMCA, near BCC, near Sturdy, near Manat, near Literacy Center. It'll be managed by NeighborWorks out of Quincy, who's one of the best in the business. They'll manage the construction and manage the facility, and it'll have a combination of services. On the first floor will be 18 crisis beds, which the provider for that will be Catholic Charities. And the second and third floor will be 22 permanent supported housing units, and the provider for that will be Father Bill's Mainspring. What this does is it actually lifts people out of poverty. This is targeted to the chronically homeless, people who've been living in tents for years and years and years. And it provides on-site 24/7 caseworkers and on-site services for literacy, addiction, mental health. Most people are able to deal with their issues and move on and become productive members of society in a couple of years after taking advantage of our services there. It's by the best. I can't believe we pulled this off, and it's in the best location.
Absolutely. And the collaboration with so many different organizations that you put together, you deserve a lot of credit for this. And as a citizen of Attleboro and the Chamber, we want to say thank you for all your efforts.
Well, thank you for that. It was hard to acknowledge everybody because I think everybody in that room had played a part in it at one point or another. But thank you.
Well, that's just it. Collaboration is what we need to do to make our world move forward. And speaking of moving forward, let's talk about the South Attleboro train station. You also were spearheading the repair on this. Tell us a little bit. It was closed officially on February 26th in 2021.
Yes.
Tell us why.
Well, I love that. They had committed to replacing it before the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, they had to shift all the money to service just to keep the trains running because nobody was riding the trains. And I understood that. Somewhere in the middle of all of that, they discovered in routine maintenance, they discovered a crack in one of the beams on the pedestrian bridge. And it's difficult to repair because Amtrak and the Acela goes underneath it. They have like 2 hours a day that they could work on it in the middle of the night. So they just closed it. What's happening right now, and where this goes, the future of this, the design for the replacement is at 100%. It's modular, so when they do it, it'll go up quickly. The pedestrian overpass will be glass enclosed. There'll be 3 glass enclosed elevators, one in the parking lot, one on either side of the tracks. So it'll be safe from the elements. The weather won't rust out the stairs because it's protected from the weather. It'll have full-length high-rise platforms on both sides, which besides for handicap access, that means everybody gets on and off faster. So once every station between here and Boston has that, if it saves 4 or 5 minutes at every stop, it takes a big chunk out of the commuter time. The other thing that it does, and kind of ties in with the homeless facility too, it ties in regional transportation. Right now, GATRA drops their passengers off in front of Market Basket, and RIPTA drops their passengers off by the mobile station. So move both of those over the train platform. So going forward, that means Rhode Island public transit will intersect with Massachusetts public transit and commuter rail all at the same spot, which means less people will need to use their cars and less chaos in the parking lot too. So we think about McDonald's closing and stuff like that. That should be history. Once this goes up, it'll be very vibrant and smooth flowing, and people will use the trains more. And going way forward out above my pay grade here, but where this ends up is one of the things that's a challenge is because of the catenary for Amtrak and for the Acela. That's why it's so difficult to repair. But that also means we're going to be first to have electric trains. And when that happens, they function differently than the old diesel locomotives. And that would mean, this is 10 years from now, I may never see this myself, but this is where it's going, is that we could have trains leaving every 15 minutes from Attleboro with a half-hour ride to Boston. So the future is there. This design is complete. But funding's been a little bit distracted by all safety issues in Boston. Right now is the CIP, which is Capital Improvement Plan, which is an annual review of their funding. It doesn't mean if we don't get it in this, it doesn't mean we're not getting it. It's reviewed on a constant basis, but this is where they review all the input. So what we're asking people to do is to send in letters of support for this project. Address, I see it's going on the screen here, CIP engagement, that's Capital Improvement Plan at MBTA. And we like to track these too. So if you do send in a letter, please CC me, James Hawkins, and also my legislative director, Tara Major. These letters don't need to be lengthy. Trust me, I'm submitting plenty of lengthy testimony as to all the details, how this affects our economy, how it affects climate change, how it affects the economic growth in the area, housing in the area, the benefit to the station. What we need is a volume of letters. So if all you do is send in 1 or 2 lines and say how it affects you, you bought a house near there that you want to walk to the train station and it's not open now. There's a development that you're working on near there, how that affects the train station. Having this here will have impact throughout the community. It makes GATRA more functional. So I'm thinking about the homeless facility on Pleasant Street. It works better if they have this in the South Attleboro. They can rotate better. I lost my train of thought here, and I'm on live here. That's not cool.
We all do it, buddy. We all do.
But it affects economic growth in a couple of ways, because it would also allow for reverse commuting. So for businesses that can't hire, people could come from any direction and still have access to Attleboro, right, at a convenient location. It affects commuters in North Attleboro, some from Plainville, Seekonk, Rehoboth, even Pawtucket. Even though there's a new one in Pawtucket, that's small, there's less than 200 parking places. It's not easy to get to. It's not even convenient for people in Pawtucket. This will change economic growth and benefit some of the rapid housing that we've had in the city right now.
Well, with the closing, we've already seen how it affects some businesses down in South Attleboro. You know, folks, how many McDonald's have you ever seen close across the United States?
Never.
I've never seen one. And unfortunately, because they don't get the same amount of traffic, you know, they found that it wasn't worthwhile to keep that open. So there's many other businesses in that shopping plaza, you know, Market Basket, Pet Supplies, Home Depot. Tell us how that affects those, Jim.
Well, they're our biggest taxpayer in the city, so we need to support that plaza. And it makes so much sense because there's 4 ramps coming off the highway there, 2 in each direction. So you can get to that plaza and the train station from any direction without going on city streets or turning left across traffic. I mean, it's just an ideal location, and it should be. It used to be before COVID. That was even though the parking lot was full at 7:30 in the morning, it was the busiest station on the Providence line. And it would be again if they reopened it. And it would bring all those people with it. If you have a honey-do list, you get off the train, you're supposed to get milk. Well, Market Baskets right there. You're supposed to get picture hooks. Home Depot's right there. There's a Pet Supply there if you run out of dog food. There's restaurants there. Was a McDonald's there. This is all affected by the presence of the train station. And we are a gateway city, and this is the part of the city that's always counted on having some development because of that train station. It's really it's an economic justice situation. We really need to be supported there.
And what kind of dollars and figures are we talking about to repair this whole station?
Well, it's a remove and replace. They're not repairing it. Everything will be different. Even the parking lot's going to be configured differently. It's $60 million was the last estimate, plus soft costs, which is probably another $5 million. That was at $60 million when it was at 100% design completion, which was maybe 6 months ago, I think.
And have they picked a contractor, or is that still out for bid?
No. The next step would be funding. So when they agree to fund it, which could be in this process that we're sending in letters for right now, I'd really like to bury them with letters. Once they fund it, that would probably take 6 months to get the funding together between the federal funds and the state funds. We've already gotten some money toward it. GATRA has some money toward it already, some federal money toward it. I got some money in the legislature for it. We've got some of the funding in place for them. But so it would take them 4, 5, 6 months to get that together. Then they send it out to bid, which takes another 4, 5, 6 months. And then when the bid is awarded, this is built off site. It's modular. That's another 6 months or a year. So we're best 2 or 3 years away. And I can't see allowing this to stagnate while they aren't decided to do it yet for another 6 months or a year, because that puts it even further into the future.
So asking folks to write those letters and have us send the letters in, that's going to
Yes.
help the overall cause to move this forward a little quicker, correct?
Oh, absolutely. They told me that, and I kind of, truthfully, I kind of resent that it's like a competition. But if that's what it is, that's what we'll do. I do have a little competitive side, so I'll do that. It should be just approved on the merits are overwhelming. I'm working right now on a delegation letter that will be from me, Rep Howard, Rep Scanlon, Rep Barrows, and Senator Feeney, and we're going through. They have 8 criteria for deciding, and any one of them, we knock it out of the park for any one of the criteria they use for deciding these projects. So we just need to catch their attention. The greasy wheel gets the grease.
Well, and we've got some great community members here in the Attleboro area, and
Yes.
I'm hoping that they jump on the case with you.
Yep.
And we'll send in a letter, email. It's very, very quick and easy to do.
Yep.
Please CC Jim and Tara on that as well. And this is the way we're going to get things done, working together. Just like you collaborated with all those other organizations to have the homeless shelter built, we need
Yep.
our residents to work together and to help us get that rebuilt.
Thank you. It's a key to the area. It's a key to economic development. It's a key to housing. It's a key to jobs. It's a key to everything. It's essential for us to move forward.
Folks, I appreciate your attention this afternoon. If you have any further questions, you can reach out to me, but reach out to Jim, reach out to Tara. One of the things about Jim Hawkins is he always gets back to you. He responds. If not, Tara will get back to you. But it's time that he's done a lot of work for us. It's time for us to do a little bit of work for him. And by writing these letters that we're asking for today, this is helping Jim, helping the entire community. So folks, please seriously consider writing a quick 2-3 sentence to the email that you see on the screen right now. And that's going to help Jim move this process forward.
Some people ask me, I want some sort of template, and I don't want to do that. It's if they get 50 letters and they all look alike, they're going to ignore the whole thing. So don't worry about saying the right thing. It's a matter of that it's community support for this project. Just 2 or 3 sentences, how it affects you, what you think about it. Anything is fine, and it's better if they're all different.
And is it sending to that email address, or
Yes.
should they send them to any other legislators to get on the bandwagon?
No, just that email with a CC to me and Tara. We track these. You should get a thank you from one of us, and we keep track of it. We're holding their feet to the fire. I'm thinking that we're going to get a whole lot of emails, and we're going to hold their feet to the fire. We're going to say, look, this is what the community did. Listen to what the community said. You need to jump on this.
Right. You need to listen to your constituents, because that's
Yep.
who votes those folks in. Well, Jim, thanks for taking the time to come on the show today.
Taking the time. Thank you for inviting me. This is critical. I appreciate the support.
Well, we kind of like you. We don't know why, but we kind of like you. I always bust Jim's chops wherever we are. I don't care. He's a state rep. He's the Pope. It doesn't matter to me. Jim and I get along very, very well. He takes my sour jokes in stride. But he's been a tremendous help to the city of Attleboro and to the legislator in general. But again, State Rep Jim Hawkins, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks. See you again next week. Want a big shout out to James Friedman and his team over there at AACS for putting up with me every week. Sometimes we have little glitches, sometimes we don't, but they're patient with me. So folks, thank you once again for joining us here at the United Regional Chambers Weekly Update, and we'll see you next week. Everybody, stay.